Hello, everybody. So, my name is Laura Russell. I am a registered nurse. This is my channel, Healing Healthy Carnivore. I was like, healing. I've been watching like so many Healing Humanity like trailers and stuff with Dr. Barry and Adam Lacey and Carrie McMahon over the last half hour. I've just like little bits of all of these showing up. So, I am Healthy Carnivore. But I do recommend that you go out and watch the trailer because I think that movie will be coming out. The documentary will be coming out the beginning of next year. It sounds like they've got everything wrapped up and just doing editing. So, anyway, a little bit about myself. I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for over 23 years now and started keto in 1991 due to bad health, extreme obesity, pain. I had brain fog. I had severe depression back then. I did not medicate. I chose to not do any of the medicines that they had at the time. So basically, just went keto, clean keto. Just made all my own things, gardened, canned, did all that, which I still can. We just canned Rotel for my husband for this winter, this weekend. So I still do enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I just don't partake in eating any of it. I don't feel the need to eat any of that. Fermented stuff, occasionally I do include maybe one time a month now. It kind of seems like just kind of reset the gut, make sure the gut's good and happy. It's not something that's required, it's something that I do. And then in 2019, very, second month, I decided to go carnivore after watching Joe Rogan and Dr. Baker. So that is how I got to where I am now. I work with people. I have my own website called russellbrands.com, which is with a Z, russellbrands.com. I do work with clients there. I do make tallow products. I make natural products such as like elderberry tincture, oregano oil, which is a antibiotic type thing. Elderberry is more of a antiviral. I have multiple things that I have been doing that way for many, 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 many years. Used it on myself, my family, my patients, my clients, and then have made a website to do those things through. I do keep the prices extremely low. This year, I'll be surprised if I break even. Last year I made $185. This year I doubt it because shipping anywhere, no matter how light it is like $8. So anyway, enough about that. You're welcome to go check that site out if you would like to, or if you have family members that have some of the conditions that I have products that will help, such as eczema, psoriasis, diabetic, neuropathies, joint pains, scars, acne, any of that kind of stuff, age spots. I have a wonderful facial serum that works great for that. So let me come in real quick and let me see who is here. Hey, Tara. And T is here. Hey. And Cheryl, hello. And Beth is here. And Janice, hello. And Wendy, good. Good to see you. Hopefully your husband, maybe little baby steps, is getting better. Um, so tonight's topic is near and dear to me. It is something that I have done my entire life, even as a teenager, even probably preteen. Because as with most of us, you guys, is that how many of us ended up on Weight Watchers or Atkins or, some type of like herb. I mean, nothing against Herbalife. I think they have some great products, but the dietary stuff that they had was all plant-based. But, found yourself on there, 11, 12, 13 years of age, and you just kind of keep doing that. Um, in order to fail at something, you have to have done some form of self-sabotage. Um, and I'm very good at doing that. I can do that. I even have done that on carnivore to where it's like, oh, I'm starting to meet my goals. I'm getting, I'm building more muscle. My pant size is this because I don't really look at the weight anymore. but then I'll be very close to that goal. And then it's almost like, oh, I have to have that goal to be chasing. Otherwise, it's like, what do I have to do? And I would literally go, and I didn't eat off plan. I didn't go grab a donut or um, something that was a high carb food. I didn't do that. I didn't do sugar. I didn't do any of that. But I would just like knowing what works for me, which is the 80-20, 80% fat, 20% protein. I would go off the rails and I would just be like 90% protein, 10% fat, or I would eat 4 times a day, even though I probably wasn't really hungry. It was just like self sabotage. So that's what I used to do to myself. And I have learned probably just in the last year and a half, and mostly through working with other people, working with clients. It's like, oh, yeah, yep. I see that. I feel it. I own it. I have done that. So that is what tonight's talk is going to be over, so that we can help, hopefully, prevent people from having to go through that. So let's see. Simpson, hey, good to see you. And then there's Kel fueled by fat. I like that. From Arizona. Hello. Wendy says her husband seems better all the time. Are now moving. Yay. Good. Good, good, good. Um, Carnivore Junkie. I like that name too. Hello from Gilchrist, Texas. Hello, Texas. I live in Illinois and we need help. Please, please send help. I hear it's coming. I'm ready. Let's see. Erica, hello. And Cat Diamond, hello. Southwest Virginia. I just made up a package today for somebody that I think is very close to when I was writing out the address. I was like, oh, this seems very similar to somebody else. And then I looked up stuff you had bought and I was like, oh, really close. So you have a carnivore out there somewhere close to you, very close. I'd say within 3 streets, three, someplace very, very close. Anyway, well, Wendy, I'm very happy to hear that he is doing better. Um, I'm glad you didn't throw in the towel. I'm glad he didn't throw in the towel as the doctors in your Nova Scotia said basically to allow him just to go home and die. So I'm very glad that you have, you know, done the things to help him and for him to help himself. So yay for you standing up and being an advocate for your husband. Everybody needs to be an advocate and everybody needs to have an advocate. My husband's like, I'll be your advocate. And I was like, I got it. Unless I can't talk. And then I need you. He's nicer than I am. So, self sabotage in carnivore or keto, it does happen when you consciously or unconsciously undermine your own progress, often by giving into old habits, cravings, negative thought patterns. Here's just some of the ways it can look. Okay. So, justifying cheat meals, thinking just one bite won't hurt, and then spiraling into carb binges, which is probably one of the things I see the most of. Um, is where they're like, I don't want to be a spectacle when I go out to eat with my friends or I went to a kid's birthday party. And I think the we're so worried about being a spectacle that we make it a spectacle. I find that when you're just sure that this is what you're going to do and you eat before you go there and you just go and mingle, nobody even notices. I'm not kidding. Nobody notices anymore. Um, but I think it's here. Like, I used to be like, "Oh my god, they're gonna think I'm an idiot or I don't like their stuff." No, they really don't. And if it's a smaller setting and you just say, "Hey, I'm just gonna have club soda or I'm just gonna have water, with my, stuff in it," that's it, and it's okay. So, I think that's where some people get into that cheat meal thing. I also think we hear the TV, we hear the commercials, we hear it on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the commercials, all these things these are so much healthier for you. This is what you need to have, but you'll know because it pulls you off the rails. That's when you've went too far. Another one, which is big for a lot of people, is emotional eating. That is where most of us got to where we were because we were trying to protect ourselves. I've seen this with a lot of clients I've worked with who have come from out of abuse, bad marriages, rape, all kinds of things, where it's like they overeat to make themselves less attractive, less approachable. And I see that a lot, a lot. Um, it's where they're basically using food as a coping mechanism to help cope with stress, to help cope with boredom or sadness, or protect themselves from the outside world wanting to say or do anything with them. Um, Overcomplicating the diet. Getting caught up in macros, tracking rules to the point that of feeling overwhelmed and just wanting to quit. So that's where I had issues because I don't I mean, I lived keto 28 years. To tell you that I could tell you exactly how many, how much broccoli, how much, I mean, just by looking at it, I had measured to death and tracked to death. And I'm not doing that. I know that I eat around 80% fat to 20% protein because I can visually look at it and know how much that is. That is something that constant. Now there are other people out there that they like, and I'm OCD, so I do like the lines, but there are people out there that really like to have those measurements, the macros, see the numbers. It makes sense to them. Totally fine. I say go for it, whatever works for you. This one is letting others influence you, which most of the time is your own family. As I found out, my husband has never, and he eats. I'd say he's somewhere between sad diet and paleo. He kind of eats with the seasons. He's very active and seems to do okay for now. We'll see. But he's never been like, "Oh, I can't believe you're not going to go eat this." Never, never, ever. My own mother, family like that has done that. Um, but I'm a very strong willed person. The more you tell me I have to do something, the more I'm going to do the exact opposite, as we found out in 2021. Um, Giving in to peer pressure, family criticism, or social situation where carbs are the norm, because these people are addicted to carbs. I've been there, so I know that that's a thing. So not planning ahead when you know, like they're not going to have anything available there, or not planning to fast. Like I can, if I know I'm going to go someplace and I'm going to fast, no problem. But if I show up and I thought there was gonna be something there that I could have, and then it's like, "Oh, no, you're gonna fast." It's different, and I can fast very easily, but it's like that mindset. I need to have that set up ahead of time. Um, Getting caught without the right food options and defaulting to poor choices, I think, is a big one. The all or nothing mindset. I'm all or nothing. If you've heard any of my interviews, I'm an all or nothing. So thinking one slip up means that you have failed and might as well go ahead and just go all in. You screwed up and you had a bite. I don't even care if it's a brownie. You had a bite of a brownie and you're like, well, hell with this. If I could tell you the number of times that I did that as a young teenager and like 18, 19, that I would, do really good. I do Weight Watchers with, my a friend and do great, great, great. And then I'd go home and there'd be brownies and I'd eat because brownies were my thing. I would eat a brownie. And then it's like, screw it. I've already ruined everything I just did. And I literally could eat the entire pan of brownies. So been there, done that. And it does happen. So let's see. Let me catch up with some comments here. Mhm. All right. Kooky Carnivore says, hello from Maryland. New follower, been carnivore for 6 months and it's been great. Awesome. I like the name of your channel. Let's see. Kill fuel by fat. That's me. One bite turns into a dozen cookies. I've done it. I've done it. What I have kind of learned recently working with people who have that issue where they kind of go off the rail, and they just keep going, keep going, keep going, is like, hey, you fell off, but don't let the train run you over. Like you fell off, get right back on. Jump on. If that means you fast for the rest of today and then tomorrow you go ahead and you just start right back where you were, perfectly fine. Not going to hurt anything. You will get back into ketosis much faster having been there before. I do know that for a fact scientifically. Simpson says it's hard to believe that your husband's nicer. Oh, no, 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 no. He's nice, nice, calm, and gentle. I am not calm and I am not gentle. I'm like the bull in the china shop. So yes, he is very, very nice. Um, very like what do they call that? The salt of the earth kind of person. That is absolutely it. I'm the kind that I will fight till my last dying breath to help somebody um when they want the help. Like and especially when it comes to our broken health system. So Tara says, Laura is nice. People confuse bluntness with being mean. She's an angel. Well, thank you. Yes, I am blunt. Janice says, emotional eating and protecting myself. I relate. Yes. Um, Simpson's like, exactly. Yep. That is what I have found, Simpson, with many, 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 many clients that I have worked with, and including my own daughter, who also had a rape as a, I think, 8-year old, 9-year old, from a family member. And so she did that herself and just encapsulated herself to make herself less attractive. I mean, down to the point of like chopping her hair off to very, very, very short, even got into the, purple, green, orange hair type stuff. Um, and then she has found her way out of it. So very happy for that. So Darlene says, hi, Laura. I'm here. Besides self-sabotage, what happens after that when the body's metabolism has turned whack hormonal? Yeah, the hormonal part, sometimes just going higher fat helps. This is my own, I'll tell you what worked with me. So the 80-20, 80% fat to 20% protein has helped. Um, and staying consistent. If I'm anything, I am consistent. Um, it's like if I say I'm going to do this type of workout this day, it absolutely gets done unless I'm dead sick, dead sick. So consistency is key. And that is something that I didn't necessarily have until I was like, I'd been keto. So I was probably 39 and just was like, I have got to do this and be consistent with my movement, with exercise, with whatever. Um, I literally watched a lady called Keto Mom. She's into like those ketone drinks and packets that you sell. I cannot remember what her real name is, but she goes by Keto Mom. Um, and she has lots of girls, lots of kids, and does homeschooling. But anyway, she I had watched her videos and she talked about, like having your stuff ready for your walk or your exercise or whatever it is you're planning to do, having it right there ready, like so that when you wake up and open your eyes, it's sitting right there on the dresser ready to go. And then it's like you don't want to get out of bed. And she literally was like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get your ass up. And you know what? I did that first time and I was like, it did. I was like, I was up. And so I did that for a while and then it just becomes a routine habit. And then sometimes you have to have your hormones checked to see if there is something that's off. And I'm not against bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. I do think that there are people that absolutely have to have that. I'll tell you the ones that I have found. People who naturally went into menopause don't seem to need that near as bad. Not that they can't do it and that it won't help, but their adrenals will take over better and produce what they need compared to somebody who has the surgeries that throw you right into it. And then they don't have time to build up and learn to do what they're supposed to do in conjunction with you going through menopause. those are the people that I find need to do like the bioidentical hormone replacement. Let's see. Kat says, what does an 80% fat meat besides ribeye? No matter what I eat, I never get it that high. Oh, girl, easy. I buy ribeye fat. You can also buy just beef fat trimmings at usually a butcher shop, or if you have like a locker that processes meats, deer, different things like that. I buy that and I do at least half a pound. If I'm going to do one meal a day, it's probably a pound, and you cook it. Now, by the time you get done cooking it, of course, you've got all this beautiful tallow that I use for all my products. Well, most of my products. Um, and you strain that off, but I just cook that crispy, uh, fried brown, and then I will put my Redmond salt on that. So it'll be at least 50% of the plate, because let's remember the amount of calories, even though calories don't count, these are much higher per weight than the amount of meat. And so I'm doing about 60 to 65 grams of protein. So basically, 6 to 8 ounces is it. And then the rest of it is all fat. So that's what my plate looks like. And it's delicious. My trigger is boredom. Yes. So some I crochet blankets. I taught myself how to crochet by watching other people. Some of it was at a factory I worked at, watching the ladies in the locker room do it. Some has just been watching YouTube videos and stopping it and going back and doing that because I cannot read a pattern to save my life. It's kind of like handing me an atlas, a road atlas, and thinking we're going to end up where we're going. It's not going to happen because I can't. I literally are like my husband one time says, we need to go west. Well, here's the W. And I was like, whoosh, we did not end up in the right spot. So I find that like if I start hearing the food noise talking, which I don't do anymore, but when I did, it was like get up and do some exercise, go out for a walk, go outside, put your feet in the ground, on the ground. Um, I literally used to do during football games, every commercial, I do like 10 sit-ups or 10 push-ups or 10 wall sits, whatever, and just find something to do. And then I do this, I do my business on the side. So there's not, I don't have time to be bored anymore. I stay extremely busy, which is okay because, yes, I don't like boredom. So Darlene says, correction, hormone wise, my body's hormones are not helping me lose weight. What can I do? Well, one of the first things I'd probably look at would be berberine. I would get, I would start on berberine 3 times a day or however many times you eat. You want to take it with food. Um, and I would have a hormone panel done. I would have 6 hormones, the entire thyroid panel, including free T3, T4, um, cortisol, fasting insulin. I would have all of those done. And then you kind of know where you're coming from. Hey, Dawn, that's okay. And Karen's here as well. Let's see. How do you get that? Kel, I get that much fat in because I literally like, what day did I go over to Fairway to get my stuff? I think I went over Friday, and I will like every week I'll go over and buy 5 pounds of frozen ribeye fat. They save back the ribeye fat for me. I've been doing that for a long time. I have quarts and quarts of rendered down ribeye fat, which is what I use for my lotions and shampoo bars and conditioner bars and stuff like that. Um, Deodorant. So yeah, that's how I get that much in. I just eat it, eat it, eat it, eat it. Let's see. And I start with fat first too. So that's another thing I do. So like you see my plate and it's at least 50% of the fat and then, 6 ounces or so of the whatever protein. Mine is like 99% of the time it's beef. Occasionally, like I had a catfish yesterday. Um, I had 8 ounces of catfish because it's not, I don't know, it doesn't stick with me as long as beef does, but that's what I had. Um, And I start with the fat. I eat the fat first, and then I eat the whatever the side is. Darlene says she's in her 70s. Yep, which is okay. You can do that at any time. Um, yes. So, Darlene, you can ask specifically. So, this is what I would do. I would look at your little mailers that say, like, when they're having any kind of sales on ribeyes, like ribeye steaks, whole ribeyes, because they always cut off the fat, except like when I order a whole ribeye cut up, I'm like, leave the fat on there. Do not cut that off. And it has a lot because then I'll just cut it off. It's fine. It doesn't matter. And I'll cook some of it on there anyway. But you can go in and ask for beef fat trimmings or ribeye fat. Leaf fat is up around the kidneys. It's a very, very good fat too. It has lots of nutrients in it. So that is what you asked for. So Tara says, I am an emotional eater. So that is why walking and exercising is very important to me. Exactly. Yep. Getting your mind on something else, getting out in nature. And I know you. So I know that getting out in nature for you is just like when I go out in nature, it is so nice to get away from everything. Let's see. Maybe you can ask for ribeye fat. Yep. Hey, Charlie, how are you? So Kel says, I have your tooth powder and face moisturizer. Love the tooth powder. I like the moisturizer, but it does feel greasy, so I don't use it all the time. So this is what I've never had anybody say that it feels greasy. I just put it on like not too long ago. So what I do is I wash my face and get all of my natural oils off. I don't use soap. It is just water, washcloth. And then I put that on and rub that in. And I do, I massage that into the skin. And I find if you do that, it's going to get in. I even have people who put it on and then put their makeup on over the top of it. So maybe see if that doesn't help. All right. So let's go over strategies so that we can help people avoid self sabotage. So, one is staying focused on your why. Write down your why. Why do you want to get healthy? What are the reasons? Do you have diseases, pain for your family? Is there something? What is making you want to change your lifestyle to be healthier? Whatever it is. Remind yourself why you started. Um, was it health? Was it energy? Was it weight loss? Whatever it is, write it down and revisit it. So mine was on the refrigerator for years to the point of like it turned yellow, like it was a white piece of paper, and it looks like it's on parchment paper from like 1800s. Because I wrote my why in 1991. Yeah, 91. Um, I have written a new why since then because I did meet my goals and stuff like that. So then my new why was to live to be 120 so that I can drive my husband crazy, crazy. And then just to stay my healthiest version that I can and stay off as many medications and stay out of the pharma system. That's really one of my big ones, even though I'm a nurse. Another one is having a game plan. So, like I say, if you don't plan, then you will fail. So, prep easy, satisfying meals so that you're not tempted by, junk. Always have on the go snacks such as boiled eggs, beef sticks, ribeye, purse ribeye, or not ribeye. If you can put a whole ribeye in your purse and eat it, that's amazing. Purse bacon, although I have actually made jerky from ribeye and had it in my purse. So I guess you could do that. Recognizing triggers. That's the other thing is I think people who go on this way of eating, whether it's keto, ketovore, or carnivore, I think you learn to start listening to your body. And you get to where it tells you to do something. You're like, yep, got it. So listening to yourself, recognizing triggers, identifying what causes your slip ups, whether it's stress, whether it's being around certain foods, social settings, and create strategies that you can navigate those. Setting boundaries for yourself. Learn to say no to people pushing food on you. Be confident in your choices, and you don't have to be mean. I've never been like I've never been mean to anybody ever, ever, ever. Um, I've been upset that they cooked my food in something that they were asked not to do. This is restaurants. And so I choose to not go. which is too bad. I'm a hell of a tipper. Um, and I even tipped the chef, but since they can't follow, you know, my guidelines, I just don't go. So another one and this is a big one. This is going to resonate with people. Simpson, hear me, because this is something that I know I had trouble with, is practicing self-compassion. I'm very passionate to help other people, less passionate about helping myself. That was something I had to learn. If you mess up, you don't beat yourself up, you just get back on to the next meal. I literally had somebody email me yesterday or today, I can't remember which, because I've been online, answering lots of my emails the last couple days and making products, but said, they had messed up for 2 weeks, did something one time a day that they had given up, and they have a heart condition that they really have to do this. Um, and they're like, "Have I ruined it? Have I?" And I'm like, "Stop and get right back on. Throw it away, and just get right back on." Your body is a much better oiled machine than it used to be. And so any of those things you can get back on. That doesn't mean, I can just go out this weekend and do it because I know I can get back on. That's a choice. If you choose to live that way, that's okay. But you're going to be in that constant back and forth. I'm just saying that if you fall off, it's not the end of the world and you can get right back on. So shifting your mindset, instead of feeling like I'm deprived, focus on what you can eat and how good you feel when you eat that way. Um, because I deserve, and I learned this, and I think it helped that I quit eating uh, the standard American diet in 1991, the day before Thanksgiving. And I did that on purpose because I wanted to be able to learn self control against all the foods, against all the people trying to push them on me, and knowing that I deserved to not be the one sitting on the couch miserable for 2 hours after Thanksgiving meal, that I wanted to be the one outside playing with all the kids, that I wanted to be the one, that had energy to go do this, that, or the other, and watch football. I like to watch football. I used to like to watch football. So I just think that you have to get out of that mindset. So another thing that I think is really important is finding support. So joining a community, following like-minded people, have an accountability partner. So I have Marco Polo groups. I have some that I do with Robin Heron, which is carnivorous grandma, and we have several people that we work with together. She has some that she works with separately. I have some that I work with separately, and you just have Marco Polo app, and it helps so much being able to have somebody be an accountability partner. Or like today, um, one of the ladies was not, she had some issues going on and needed to fast to try to boost her immune system up, and I'm like, I'll do it with you, no problem. So, it kind of helps to have some of those things around. Staying hydrated and eating enough. I'm going to say that again, eating enough. And the reason I'm going to say that is because most of us have done this. I'm going to eat 600 calories today and I'm going to lose weight. Stop it. First of all, I don't even look at calories, but eat. It is really like Dr. Berry says, eat until you are comfortably stuffed and can't really, like, the next bite is like, I don't think I could eat that. Then you're full. That's and the longer you do that, the more of your own GLP-1 will you release naturally. Um, Staying hydrated also will help keep you from thinking you're hungry. So you'll feel like, "Oh, I'm hungry," and actually you're just thirsty and you need some water, especially with electrolytes. So, make it your identity. Like, this is gonna sound stupid, I'm sure, to a lot of people, but I promise you this is one of the ways I was able to get away from brownies and cookies and stuff like that, because they were my nemesis. Doritos was a nemesis. I liked the noodles, I like that kind of stuff, is when I would see a plate or a bowl of that product, whatever it was being made or bought or whatever, I literally saw it is either dog crap, like a big pile of dog crap, or skull and crossbones like you see on your placards as it being poisonous. I purposely mentally made myself see that to the point that years later I could not unsee that. I couldn't see it as it's just a brownie. It's horrible. It is poison and it is dog crap. So yeah. So staying finding your identity and figuring out how to look at those foods for what they really are. And a lot of the ways you can do that is when you turn a box and see the side of those ingredients is go out and look up every single one of those ingredients. Ethylene glycol, look up that one. It's in every single cake mix that's at Walmart. Look up ethylene glycol and see what it is. It's in every one of those things. It just mind-boggling. Um, so instead of I'm trying carnivore, say I am a carnivore, or I eat keto, or I eat ketovore. Not I'm trying. I am. I. You need to say it and know it and own it and believe it. So yeah. So like I said, if you fall off the wagon, don't let the wagon run you over twice. Get yourself up. Actually, this is what I said to this person today. I said, "Get yourself up." What'd I say? "Get yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again." Because there's a song that has that, "Dust yourself off and try again." And so it was a little joke of, I think there's a song out there that says that, and he knew who the person was that sang it. I could have never came up with the name, but yeah. So all right, let me just check real quick and see if anybody else. Simpson says, "Hi, Charlie. I will try that. Maybe I am using too much." And that's the other thing. You don't need much of that facial serum. Like what I normally do is I'll take the dropper and I'll put a bead here, rub that together and put that in neck, working upward, up around, I mean, entire thing, up around the eyeballs, everything. So yeah, maybe it is too much because you don't have to use a lot. It lasts forever because you don't have to use much. Tara's laughing. She's probably laughing at me. That's okay. Darth says, "Hey, Simpson." Kat says, "When I make bacon jerky, I eat way too much of it because it is so good." Yeah. And you can't eat too much of a good thing. So you do have to. I've gotten to the point where I don't do a lot of snacking type stuff because I can buy a bag of pork rinds and I can eat myself all the way through those pork rinds and then I pay for it because if I do a small amount, they don't bother me. If I eat, way more than I'm supposed to, I get the histamine issues. I get the knuckles because I cannot eat much pork at all. I did ribs. It was either Friday night or Saturday night. My husband made ribs and they were delicious. Mine were plain, just salt. I put a little butter on top. And the next day, when we went to take our dog that we're watching um, for a long, long, long walk and run, yeah, I thought my knees were going to fall off. So I won't be doing that again. I just want to try to put things back in the diet every so often to see what I can. Ooh, yeah, Kel or Ket, yeah, Kel. I the hamburger jerky is the best. I make that for a lot of my older patients that I see in home health because they can chew it. I love hamburger jerky. Absolutely is my most favorite. Another thing that I did that turned out very well, which is kind of hamburger like, is I bought a brisket and I put it through my grinder that I have and I made that into jerky. It was very good. I did add in some ribeye fat with that though, because its fat is a little bit, I don't like the flavor of its fat near as much. Cheryl says, "I say that I am fasting today and let them figure out why." That's a good idea. I've even, like in the beginning, when I went carnivore and I did a lot of fasting at the end, the last 2, 3 years of keto, and then continued the fasting. And I'd be like, "Oh, I have a colonoscopy tomorrow." And they're like, "Oh, okay. No big deal." So, hey, booby goats. Ethylene glycol is a toxic, yep, sweet tasting, colorless liquid primarily used in antifreeze. Exactly. and de-icing solutions, but also found in hydraulic brake fluid, paints, and ink. That is 100% correct. Literally, me and my husband, he wanted, like, I don't know if he wanted to make brownies or a cake. It might have been like a pineapple upside down cake or something. And so he grabbed, the box and threw it in the cart. I don't buy stuff there unless it's like plastic wrap or something. But I'm just going along with the little trolley and I pick it up. No, he picked it up and he starts reading it and he's like, and he's worked in the car parts industry, his whole life. And he was like, ethylene glycol. He's like, that's antifreeze for like RVs and this and that and da da da. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go back to that aisle and we'll get a different one. And we read them all. Now I have heard that Aldi's has one that doesn't have it. I'm still not going to eat it, but I was just like, it's in every one of them. So I asked, why is this in every one of these? I wrote to two, and they said because it keeps the cake or the brownie or cookie moist. And I'm like, well, doesn't the egg and the oil that you use keep it moist? Because I thought that's what that's for, but maybe not. So yeah, you are absolutely correct. Um, Happy Labor Day to you as well, booby goats. Let's see. Simpson says, hey. What's histamine issues on knuckles? So what I get is inflammation. So like if I buy store-bought chicken eggs and I eat the whites, I will get really swollen sinuses, my maxillary, my everything, facial, I mean all of it. I will get frontal sinus, I mean, all of it, I get swollen. And then my knuckles will feel like you just can't hardly open up your hands that fast. And there just feels like you need to take some oil and put in there. And then just same with my knees, hips, stuff like that. That's the kind of response that I get. Sometimes I'll get an allergic reaction, like the roof of my mouth will actually, especially the soft palate, will actually swell. So that is what that is. Let's see. I am planning to make sliced brisket jerky. There you go. Oh, that's really good. So Booby Goat says she is at 15,928 steps. I ran a long ways with the dog that we're sitting for yesterday, and then I walked a very, very long parade and then walked back. So I don't, I was already at like 16,000 steps before I did the parade yesterday, so I didn't look, but I should go back and look. I don't wear a thing. I have to keep my phone on me, and then that health button app will keep track of my steps. So yeah, that's amazing though. That's good. Walking is good. So Simpson says I had to look up that song. It's from 1936 and many have done it. Dust Yourself Off. Jerome Keynes was the original. Yeah, the this is a girl that sings the ones, and it's got a like a rapper type part of it where he's like step two, step two, step two. But I can't remember the name that he told me of her. But as soon as he said it, I was like, yep, that's who it is. Aldi's with a lot of the produces coming from Germany would probably have one without ethylene glycol, since I believe that is one of the things that they don't allow. Let's just be honest. Most of the countries don't allow 90% of what we do. So hopefully that will change. So I'm going to go over what is next Monday's video that I'm going to do. And like I always say, if you find any value in this, I do appreciate if you hit the like button, if you subscribe, hit the notification bell. Half the time it works on YouTube, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why, but um, if you hit it, maybe there's a chance. The other thing is sharing that out with somebody. If you know somebody who like does these patterns of self-sabotage, I think it can be a little bit helpful because I think we've all been there, or we wouldn't have gotten to where we were. Okay. So anyway, and then if there's something that I haven't went over on here, whether it be some condition that you want me to research and find out how carnivore, ketovore can help with that, um, put that in the comments and I will always go back and do that. I have many already made up ahead of time that I was off for like 4 days and I just dug in and I made up a whole bunch of them. So I do have a lot, but I'm always willing to take more. And there's people out there that have specific things that that I had never even thought about researching. So, ankylosing spondylosis is one that'll be coming up. And I was like, oh, and I actually had somebody at one of my church events that I went and talked at whose husband has this, and I think he's in his early 30s. So I was like, "Yep, I'm going to do one on that." So next Monday's um, video is going to be on herbs that can help the immune system um, and help just our bodies. I don't eat them, but I do utilize them for their healing properties. I do believe that the majority of the plants were put on the earth for us to use as medicine. And I don't believe that the way nutritional, metabolic, holistic, functional doctors do things, I don't consider that to be, what did the doctor call it? Anyway, he is basically saying that you're a nuance. And I'm like, no, no, no. We've been around for thousands of years. Your medicine has been around for 150 at the most. You guys are the ones that's, the newest up and comer, not the other way around. So a lot of what I'll go over is like antiviral, antibacterial, inflammation reducing herbs and things that we could do, pain relief with herbs, hormonal balancing with herbs, uh, major chronic disease syndrome, um, nerve pain and muscle relaxing type herbs, herbal preparations that you can use for autoimmune conditions, anti inflammatory and gut healing um, herbal herbs for specific autoimmune conditions, so such as rheumatoid arthritis, joint autoimmunity, lupus, adaptogenic herbs for stress and autoimmune triggers, herbal preparations for autoimmunity that come for the hormonal imbalances. So I have them for herbs for women's hormonal imbalances, especially for PCOS and estrogen dominance, herbs for men's hormonal balance, and herbs for adrenal fatigue, which is too much cortisol all the time. So that will be next Monday's video. So hopefully there was something that you got out of this. Let's see. Yes, cat oregano oil, life game changer for me. Game changer. Um I would get sinus infections that would always turn into an ear infection for this ear. And I have found that if I start to, when it's coming, you're like, uh-oh. I have two things. I have a nasal spray that I made up that is xylitol. And it is, I'm trying to think, it's filtered water. I was trying to think if it was distilled or just filtered. I think it's just filtered. And then spray that up there because bacteria loves sugar, so it thinks sugar alcohol is a energy source, and then it can't eat it, so then it dies off. But the other thing I do is I take a Q-tip and I put oregano oil on the end of it. I pull the cotton so it's long, and I put it all the way up inside there, and then I press against it like this as I take that Q-tip out so that that oil stays back behind, and then just go like that to get that into those sinuses. If it starts to get into the ear, I take a couple drops of it and some oh clove oil for the pain and put that in there. And it's been years since I've had anything go to the point where I was like, I have no choice. I have to do an antibiotic. I really have not had to do that. I've used it on wounds that were non-healing. I had a lady who had a wound that was about the size of a 50-cent piece on the very front of her shin. She is 84 maybe, and she had done wound clinics, she had done antibiotics, she had done skin grafting. I mean, they tried everything, and I made up a serum that was good for blood flow. So it had some turmeric and some cayenne in it. Um, and I put oregano oil with black seed oil in that as well, and a carrier oil and some castor, and made that up. And I'm not kidding you. It was less than 2 weeks, and she was like, pulled up her pant leg, and she's like, it's gone. It's completely gone. It is closed up, 100% closed, and it closed correctly. Like it didn't close over and it has a gap underneath of it from healing too fast. That can happen with wounds that are deep like that. But it literally had filled in and had closed. And her legs aren't purple anymore, and she's got blood flow to her legs. So she uses that all the time. So yeah, we can do a lot of stuff for ourselves. Uh, I agree. All right. Perfect. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to go. It's been a very nice long weekend, but I am going to go crochet. I've got a blanket that I'm making for a specific client, and I think she's going to graduate the end of this week or the beginning of next week. So I need to get it done for her. So anyway, I appreciate all of you guys, and as I always say, meet, heat, eat, and repeat. I will see you next week. See ya.